Hello everybody and welcome to the show. Yes, hope you're well. Hope January is going good for you so far. So it's George here, but in the guise of the Hot Wheels Land Rover. This guy hasn't had any airtime since the Hot Wheels Advent Calendar in 2022. So I'm bringing him back because I recently discovered this channel called Polygon Donut. I recommend you go and check them out. But on the channel they've got a couple of videos about Hot Wheels, and Hot Wheels is one of my biggest collections, and it made me think, hang on a minute, Hot Wheels is really interesting. Why don't I show you my most favourite Hot Wheels fantasy cars? I mean, I could go through all the Hot Wheels cars that are real cars, but that would take ages. I mean, this is probably going to take ages anyway. But yeah, I just thought, why not? So I hope you enjoy this. Just to let you know, I am not doing this in any way at all to brag or to boast. I'm just doing it because I want to share my love of Hot Wheels with fellow collectors. So please enjoy. First off, I think it's fair to say that Batmobiles or any Batman vehicles are pretty cool, and I think Hot Wheels has made about over 30 of them in total, and these aren't even all of mine, so we won't go into those in any more detail, but they're all cool, let's say. So if we're talking about Hot Wheels original designed fantasy cars, there's no better place to start off than with 4 of the original Sweet 16 from the 1960s, and I'm very lucky to have all 4 of these fantasy cars in varying states of condition. Obviously we've got the Beatnik Bandit, which is my absolute favourite out of these 4, and it was actually the very first Red Lines Hot Wheels car that I ever heard of. I remember seeing it in the first issue of Hot Wheels magazine back in 2003, 2004. The Python was my very first Red Lines. I got it for my 14th birthday, and yeah, I believe that all these 3 cars have been based off or have been made into real cars at some point. This is based on the Dodge Diora concept. Unfortunately, it is missing the surfboards, but it was like that when I bought it. But it's just a really, really nice little thing. And then of course, the most famous one out of all of these is the Twin Mill. Well, it was the face of Hot Wheels, so I've heard. I've got several different versions of it. For example, I've got a 2008 version. It hasn't changed very much, and there've been several different iterations of it as well. So speaking of Twin Mill, I've almost forgotten that last year Hot Wheels released the Experimenters Twin Mill Braille Racer, and of course, being a user of Braille myself, I had to buy it. I've kept it in the package because obviously the package on the front says Hot Wheels 68 Twin Mill, and you can see it on the car underneath, but yeah, I just wanted to keep it like that for prosperity's sake. Yeah, but those are my favourite Red Lines from the Sweet 16. These are my favourite Black Walls from the 1970s. Here we are. This is Vantastic. It looks so retro futuristic. This is from a line that Hot Wheels did of tiny little racing cars, or almost like go-karts really, in the 70s and early 80s, called Farbs. I have a few more of them, but this is my favourite one because it just looks like a little truck on its own. But yeah, they're my favourite Black Walls. Put these ones in a category where I believe that these would actually be passable as road cars or racing cars in the real world. Over here is one of my particular favourites, just because of the name, Pony Up. Obviously being a brony, I had to buy this. I guess it's based off a Mustang really, I suppose. And the colours that this one is in, this was from a Toy Story range, and it's got Bo Peep on the side. But yeah, I just really love the name. I kind of want it in a different colour, and I really wish they did it in My Little Pony colours. This next one is Covaline, which it kind of makes me think of some sort of Bugatti concept. I'm really not sure, but I just love the retro futuristic aspect of it. Could just be some sort of little sports tourer or sports roadster called Tantrum. This one really could be some sort of production custom car called Audacious. I just love the design of that. Another one I love the design of is Vandango. It kind of reminds me of some sort of custom Mustang at the front, but just with the back of a van. This one is another big favourite of mine. This is the Amazon. I've had several versions of this in the past, but this is the one that's I've kept because I just love the colour scheme. At the back, this one I think is in one of the Avengers colours. I can't remember, but this is Golden Arrow. I love it because it's got the same name as a favourite land speed record car of mine, but also, again, the retro futuristic aspect. It kind of makes me think of an old Jaguar at the front or an old Alfa Romeo. The Zella GT, I just think that's a really, really nice looking car, and I remember getting a different colour variant of this in the Hot Wheels Advent Calendar in 2022. This one I really like as well. I mean, obviously I like all of these. Why else would I buy them? Di Macchini Veloce. It kind of makes me think of the old Lancia Stratos rally cars. I just love that retro 80s rally vibe. And then these two, you can sort of put them together. I mean, here you've got the Avant-Garde, which is quite cool. But then you've got the estate version called the Tour de Fassi, and it's got two bicycles on the top, which is really, really cool. I just like that they did an estate version of the same car. But those are the ones that I believe, at a stretch, could be real life cars. These are my favourite original Hot Wheels that I feel could be more sort of Art Deco-y style vehicles. So starting off over here, this is probably one of the oldest Hot Wheels that I've had since brand new. I remember buying this when I was about 4. This is Sweet 16, and I've only just realised it's probably named in honour of the first range of Hot Wheels that came out. It's really nice. It's got a little opening boot at the back. Unfortunately, the front axle is bent, but that's through years of love and play, really. This one I've had for probably about as long as Sweet 16. This is a 57 Roadster, way too fast. This one is called T-Bucket, and I've always thought it looks like the car from the Addams Family. This one, it's sort of a modern twist, really. It's one of the I can't remember what the range was called, where the cars were flat in the middle. I really cannot remember. But this is low carbs. I won that in a school prize giving when I was 8. I have absolutely no idea what this one is called. I couldn't read the name underneath. So any ideas, please drop it in the comments. I just love the design of that. Low swooping. One of my mates gave me this at school when I was 9. This is Vantastic, but spelt with a PH at the beginning. This one, the one that's trying to run away at the back. This is Swoop Coupe Brit Speed. I do love that. It looks like one of the old land speed record cars, which we shall come on to in a bit. I cannot remember the name of this one, but this one looks like one of the old hot rods that they used to go street racing in the 50s. I do love that, and the colour scheme suits it so well. But if you do know the name of that one, please let me know. These two are from the Bling range from the early 2000s. This is the dairy delivery van. Then this one is also Blocker Wood. Looks like an old Ford Woody. I do like that. That's a really nice design. Here from the Loads. I can't remember the name of that one either. Oh, Cruise. That's it. Cruise. That was the range that this is from. This is Low and Slow. I cannot remember the name of this tanker, but I do love it. It just looks so, well, 1940s I'm thinking actually. Looks like something so out of Pixar cars. Yeah, so those are the ones that I feel are more Art Deco or retro style. These I feel are more the sort of customized cars, really. Starting just off camera, we have also from the Bling range, Rocket Box. I think this is just the best colour, but I also love the big speakers out the back. Next to it, we've got another one of my absolute favourites, Sir Ominous. I remember when I first got it, one of my parents said, doesn't that look like a Bentley Continental? And I guess from a distance, yeah, it does. Quambi custom Volkswagen Dormobile concept, I suppose. I just love the way it looks. It's how the metallic paint reflects in the light. It's so cool, so futuristic, yet so retro at the same time. Now, this next one is Drift King. Don't ask me why I absolutely adore this car. I have absolutely no idea why, but for some reason, this car is one of my top 10 Hot Wheels cars. We have See You Later. I also have a Kinder toy version of this, which is quite interesting. This one has an open canopy. The Kinder version doesn't. It goes right back. Obviously, we've spoken about Twin Mill before, and when we saw the Dodge Diora red line earlier, this is Diora 2, which I believe they actually made a real car of in this colour. And this one still has the surfboards. Really, really cool design, very futuristic, but also still quite retro. Screaming Hauler. Again, very retro futuristic, that Art Deco swooping wheel arches, and I also love, you know, the fact that it's got these huge, big. It looks like a racing car, you know, like a Caparo T1 almost, but then it's got that pickup truck bit at the. Oops, sorry, mate. It's got that pickup truck bit at the back, which I love. This one is another one of my absolute favourites. This is the Mattel Dreammobile. As soon as I saw this in the shop a couple of years ago, I just had to buy it. It just looks, I mean, obviously it's got wheels, but it looks like a hover car from something like Fahrenheit 451 or something, Ray Bradbury, or even something like Jerry Anderson. It looks like something out of that. I just love the colour scheme as well. They did do a blue one, but I have to say the salmon pink and silver did it more for me. Hammerhead. This was one that I got in the 2022 Hot Wheels Advent Calendar. This was actually the car pretty much that made me buy the Advent Calendar that year. This is one that I bought last year. This is Time Stopper or Time Shifter, and it's obviously like some sort of retro van, and this particular one was from the Treasure Hunt line. And at the back we have two different versions of Bone Shaker, another one of my absolute favourites. This one is the version that I got in the 2020 Hot Wheels Advent Calendar with the closed canopy roof, but I have to say my favourite, and probably the more aesthetically pleasing out of the two, no offence to that one, is this one with the skull and crossbones on the doors and the open cab as well. I cannot remember the name of the line that this one was from, with the gold wheels. They were around in about 2006, I think early 2007, and they were supposed to be faster and also rarer as well. So next up, I guess back in 2005, I think it was, Hot Wheels developed its own TV show. I never actually saw it, but it was called Accelerators. I saw a lot of advertising for it in Hot Wheels magazine and that, and obviously I bought a lot of the cars that came with it. So yeah, these are my favourite out of the Accelerators that I have. First up, we've got Hollowback. I just love it. I don't know why, but when I first saw it in the advertising, it just reminded me so much of some sort of Audi or something. I'm really not sure why, but I just love the design. Jackhammer, and I love that. It's reminiscent of the old original classic Nomad Hot Wheels car that they did, but it's also like a souped up family station wagon, I guess the Americans would call it. This one's another one of my favourites, called Iridium, from the Silencers team. Hollowback and Jackhammer were from the Metal Maniacs team. Iridium, it's just, I love the purple on the wheels, and it just looks, again, so retro futuristic. Now this one is also from the Silencers, but this one wasn't actually from the Accelerators range. It was from one of the trucking transporters. I cannot remember the name of it, but it kind of makes me think of an old taxi or something. Yeah, I just love the design of that though. And then the other one from the Racing Drones, I think this is Racing Drone 4, it might have it written on somewhere, but yeah, it's sort of like, I guess, an SUV, but it's got a jet booster in the back, and also a spare wheel on the back. I don't know why, I just love that spare wheel. Again, it just makes me think of an old car, yet it looks like a spaceship. I don't know why. I'm just rambling. Anyway, those are my favourite accelerators in my collection. These are some, not all, of the Hot Wheels cars in my collection that have moving parts, and we may overlap in some of the other categories coming up. This one, called Nightburner, again, one of my favourite ones. And I've only just realised from watching that video I was talking about earlier, that if you blow into here, it spins the fan in here. So if you, yeah, I've had this car for about 15 years, and I've only just recently realised that from watching that video. So that's pretty cool. This one is called Split Vision, and the doors, or the sides, open up on this, which is pretty cool. This is one of my absolute favourites. This is Whipped Creamer 2, and the roof slides back. And I also have the original Red Lines version of Whipped Creamer 1, which is very, very battered. It was like this when I bought it, but the roof, the canopy, does exactly the same thing. Oops, get back here because you're up next. This is another one of my favourites. This is Jet Threat, one of the many iterations of it, and the wings fold down. They are very flimsy and they do keep popping off, but there, look at that. That is cool. I do really like that, and I was really pleased when I found that. I was about 11 when I found that. Speaking of Jet Threat, here is Jet Threat 2.0, and this one actually has swing wings, so the wings fold out. And I noticed not long after I bought it that the tail fin and the nose and cockpit are based on an F-117 stealth fighter. One of my more recent purchases is Roller Toaster, and yeah, I'd seen this in shops for a while, and I liked the design, but I just didn't know about it. And then after I watched the video, I just thought, okay, right, I've got to buy this. And the feature with this is that the toast, you push this bit down at the back, and the toast can pop in and out. It doesn't stay down, but you know, it doesn't need to really. But yeah, just look at that. Next up is one of my favourite categories in my Hot Wheels collection. These are my land speed record cars. First off, this is an awesome one. This is Torpedo Jones. One thing I love about this Hot Wheels car in particular, which is probably one of the only Hot Wheels cars I've ever seen with this feature. The driver can come out, and there he is, yeah, with his little scarf flapping out behind him. Yeah, and he just plugs in to a little peg. I honestly cannot remember the name of this one. I can see it's made in Malaysia, but I can't see a name on there, which is a shame. If you can, go ahead and look it up. But yeah, that is just a really cool one, 1930s one. This is another one of my favourite ones. This is Ground FX. Kind of inspired by, I guess, like the Rail to Mobile special from the 1940s. And the top comes off, and that's how the driver gets in there. And you can see all the engine. Another one of my absolute favourites. This is Wild Thing from Highway 35, I think. And the bonnet opens so you can see the jet engine. I cannot remember the name of this one, but it just looks like a couple of engines off an F15 strapped, or an F14 strapped to a pair of wheels. So I do like that one. Oh, what is it called? Speed Demon? I really can't remember. Similarly, I do not know the name of this one. I've had it for several years. I do not know the name of it. I apologise if I seem like I'm being lazy. I just can't read. I can't read the writing. If anybody can read that, please let me know what it is called in the comments with the timestamp. And again, with this one, I know this is in Wonder Woman colours. Yeah. And then again with this one, another one. I've had this one for 20 years. And I still don't know the name. I love this one because the cockpit opens up and you can see the little man inside. It looks a bit like the green Goblin Mobile if he has one. I don't know, but there's that. This one was one that I got in the 2020 Hot Wheels Advent Calendar. This is Ollie Rocket, and I just love it. Look, it kind of reminds me of the pod racers from Star Wars Episode 1, because you've got the cockpit here at the back and the two engines dragging it along at the front. But yeah, that's a really cool one. And then this one, I think this is Arachnobile or something. But yeah, again, you've got the two big jet boosters at the back and the spider at the front. So yeah, those are the land speed record ones. I like to call this category, these are completely insane and I want to see these done in real life. First off, so this is called What a Drag. It's either based off a B&W Isetta or a Heinkel bubble car. But yeah, basically it's just got the front of the bubble car and then a big tail fin at the back with a big wheel. That's really cool. Here's yet another jet threat. This one's clearly based off some sort of FA-18 Hornet. That's a really cool one. I cannot remember the name of this one, but basically it's got a gun turret on top. Speaking of gun turrets, here is the Invader, and yes, the missile does actually launch. This is one of the ones that we got in the 2022 Hot Wheels Advent Calendar. This is imparable, just basically a chassis with a motorbike attached to it. I don't know why, but you know, there you go. I cannot remember the name of this one, but basically the cockpit's on one side, the huge engine is on the other side. How you would operate that, I have no idea. I cannot remember the name of this one, but this one was from the 2020 Hot Wheels Advent Calendar. It's basically got footballs all over it. Even the wheels are footballs. Look at that. That's really cool. So is this one. I cannot remember the name of this, but it's basically a customized Reliant Regal van. So it's tipped up so you can't see where you're going, but that's still a cool idea. Pocket Bikester. This is another one of those ones that's got the gold rims, and it's just got a little bike inside the cab. I cannot remember what it's called, but it's basically a NASA space shuttle with a couple of wheels. This one is another one of my absolute favourites. This is Semi-Psycho. Yeah, you'd have to be pretty psychotic to drive that, wouldn't you? And then this one is Excessive, and it's a really cool off-road vehicle, and it can twist to go over really rough terrain. Why somebody in real life hasn't made something like this, I don't know, because that would be really useful in lots of situations. The one that I forgot to show from this section is Unobtainium 2. It's basically a beefed up hatchback that's all gold. And is it me, or does it look like the front is grinning? I don't know why, but that just looks like a chin there to me, and that looks like the smile. But yeah, I can imagine some rapper having something like that, but yeah. This is a category of cars that are basically things just masquerading as cars. Obviously we've got Roller Toaster there. Here is, I can't remember the name of this one, but it's basically a shopping trolley, and it even comes with a little man. He's got a very oversized head. He looks like a child more like than a person. But yeah, and the shopping trolley has an engine in it, because why not? Here we have the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Is this a real car? I'm not sure, but yeah, that's obviously just a hot dog masquerading. This is just like a little toy car, little pedal car. I just love that little pedal car. And similarly, we have here a little Hot Wheels bumper car, or a Dodgem. Here we've got a push chair masquerading as a car. This is another one of my absolute favourites. This is Fast Fortress. It's basically a Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress Second World War bomber attached to a 6-wheel chassis. I don't need to say any more about that, do I? Stingray. It's basically an amphibious car with a couple of rockets attached to the top. And here's the Carbonator. It's basically a bottle of drink which is powering the rocket. The back fin can be used to open bottles, and the little lip on the front of the chassis can be used to open drinks cans. Yeah, why not? One that I've just bought today is the Loopster. And had I not watched the videos that inspired me to make this video, I wouldn't have heard about this. So this is basically a roller coaster carriage, and it has hooks at the front and the back, so that if you buy many of them, you can all connect them together and actually have them as a roller coaster. And you can see you got the 4 passengers. Yeah, that's a really cool little one, isn't it? The car which I've just bought today, which Polygon Donut raved about, is the Tooligan. So basically it's a tool really, like a wrench at the back, masquerading as a sports car. It looks really cool, very space age, futuristic, but underneath it's got a hole, and there's a reason why it's got a hole. So this is a little strip of screwdriver tips that I've got from a toolkit which I've had for about 13 years or so, and the actual screwdriver end, the handle bit that you hold in your hand, has gone AWOL, so I've no idea where it's gone, but I'm actually glad, let me just get that out. I'm actually glad that we have this. I can now use this car as a screwdriver. Oh, I just love that feature. That is so, I mean, you know, for most people that's just going to be a cool little anecdote thing, but for me I can actually use that because I just think, oh god, I haven't got a screwdriver big enough. Oh, hang on a minute, bring in the Tooligan. But yeah, that one, that's awesome. And even though Hot Wheels has the word wheels in the name, some of the cars that they've produced, or vehicles they've produced rather, don't necessarily use wheels all the time to get around. For example, here we've got Mad Props, one of my absolute favourites. Kind of reminds me of an old P51 Mustang. I mean, it's even got the little air vent underneath. Similarly, we have Experimental. This particular one is from the X Racers range because you can see the engine and all that. Other planes that they've made, another one of my top favourites. This is one that's come out in the past couple of years. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically a jet-powered seaplane. I would love to see one of those in real life. That looks awesome, doesn't it? A couple of helicopters. I cannot remember the name of this one for the life of me. I can't remember the name of it, but some sort of power boat there. And here's one that's like a water speed record one. It's very battered. It was like this when I found it in the charity shop. It's called Blimp. So it says Hot Wheels, and then you twist the tail fin and it comes around and says, "Hi Mom," which is quite funny as well. And it says Hot Wheels Racing on the other side. And then this one is called Fathom This, and this is a little submersible and all the blades spin. Another thing that comes under this category is the West Coast Rider, I think it's called. It's basically one of those old 1940s, 50s American steam trains, but with a couple of big racing tyres on it. I just love the design of these old Art Deco, I guess futuristic at the time, steam trains, and it looks really good. It's got big fat tyres, it runs really well. Yeah, that's a nice one. Penultimate category of fantasy Hot Wheels cars that I'd like to talk to you about today are the brick cars. So basically these are compatible with Lego, Mega Blocks, any sort of building bricks of that sort. You can build these. So this, I can't remember the names of all of these, but this is the 4x4 version, and all the parts for them are detachable. I will demonstrate in a minute. Here's the custom car version. You've got a little delivery van, which looks really sweet. You've got some sort of racing car, and then another one that I bought today. I remember the name of this one. This is Brick and Motor, and this one I remember is Brick and Delivery, as it says on the side. Should have looked at that really, but I'll demonstrate one of the fun things about these. So yeah, here we go. That is the beauty of these, as is with Lego. You can just take them apart and mix and match them to your heart's content, really. Yeah, it's just really fun little things, but personally I think I prefer them how they are, as to how they are supposed to be, really. And now for the last group of Hot Wheels fantasy vehicles, These are all ones that are licensed. And whilst Hot Wheels has produced some fantasy vehicles, like from Knight Rider or the A-Team or whatever, there are actually real vehicles of those that we use in the TV show. So I'm only classing ones that are concepts or that were only ever in cartoons or CGI. So starting off at the back, we have the original Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. I've been told this is quite a rare one. It's so aesthetically pleasing. I mean, look how squidged up it is, like it is in the cartoon. It's lovely. A more recent one that's come out in 2023, Luke Skywalker's Land Speeder, that's it. The Quinjet from Marvel. I just love that. It looks so much like a lucky blackbird, but with something gone wrong. Now, like I said about Knight Rider, so there are several versions of Kit in real life and that Hot Wheels have made. This is a Kit concept car that I don't believe ever actually existed in real life, so this is one of Hot Wheels' own, but that's really cool. I love Knight Rider, as you know. This is the Homer from Simpsons. I just love that. I originally thought it was something from Jetsons when I first saw it. This is Cruella de Vil's car from 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon. This one is another one that's strange for Hot Wheels because, you know, the USS Enterprise doesn't have wheels. But yeah, that's still a really nice little model. It's quite heavy actually for its size. Yet another car that I've only just bought. Well, I guess it's not really a car, to be honest. It's the Thunder Tank from Thundercats. I just was in the shop today and I heard somebody say, "Oh, Thundercats car," and I thought, oh, it'd probably just be one of those ones where it's just a regular Hot Wheels car but they've painted Thundercats on the side. Nope, this is the tank from Thundercats. Look at that, and the little front paws of the front go up and down. But I love how it actually looks like a cat's face at the front. Oh, that is brilliant. I love that. And then a couple of cars that came out in the past year or so, which confuse me slightly, because Hot Wheels is made up of toy cars and vehicles, you know, which stereotypically would be marketed more towards the male gender. But in the past year, they've come out with a few cars that boys wouldn't stereotypically buy. For example, the Barbie Dream Car. It's a really, really nice little sculpting of it. It really is. It's got little wings for the doors. I think that's supposed to be a swimming pool in the back. But yeah, there's that one. We also have the Barbie camper van. I mean, look, it's even got the hole in the top where you can put Barbie in, and this bit on the side. I can't get this to fold down, but that bit folds down. But yeah, again, just an odd choice. And then more in the past couple of months or so, they've released the Monster High Ghoulmobile. You know, I mean, you know, it's good that they're trying to reach out into the other genders, but just makes you wonder, you know. I mean, obviously, I quite like these because they're unusual for what they're unusual for what Hot Wheels is. But it kind of makes me think, you know, are there any other boys out there aside from myself who would want to collect these? Yeah. But anyway, after all that, that's the end of the video, really. Well, we got there in the end. Yeah. Sorry that was a bit of a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment if you fancy, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in one of my different guises in the next video, whenever that will be. Cheers, guys. Take care.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you understand this, then you're mad. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And the singing is also quite bad.